Today I'm going to show you how to build a system that will allow you to track and find companies with actual and high demand for your solutions. With this system, you'll be able to find these companies, people inside them, their contact information, to automatically prospect them through cold email, LinkedIn DMs, or any other marketing channel that you want. If today you're using LinkedIn to research for the companies, for the leads, trying to find some information that you can use to personalize your first contact, or maybe using Apollo, like just setting some basic filters, getting 1,000 or 5,000 leads, sending thousands of emails, just hoping that one of them will get answered, this video is for you. So first, I'm going to show you a demo of this system so you can start booking from 10 to 20 qualified sales calls every month with something like this, and in some cases adding $50,000 to $100,000 in new sales to your pipeline every month. I will show you how to map and strategize what are the main signals that you should look for, how to actually map companies and people inside those companies who have presented those signals, how to take those people, enrich their contact information, making sure you have their email, phone number, LinkedIn contact, and send them to your email sending tool, your CRM, and then start prospecting them all automatically. If you don't know me yet, I'm Leo. I build marketing and sales AI systems to 7 and 8 figures B2B companies. I've been in the B2B space for the last 10 years or so. I've worked with over 100 B2B companies already, and using this same exact system, not only for them, but also to the business that I ran myself as my marketing and sales Martech, and the B2B SaaS that I built over the last 2 years, and I was funded by one of the biggest venture capital firms in the world. So before anything else, let's start checking how this system actually works and how you can implement in your own company. So here we'll start using this tool that's called Clay, and we're already monitoring for 2 very cool demand signals, which is open jobs. So companies will have a particular and specific open job on LinkedIn, and companies who have hired someone recently, and this someone is strategic for us because it's one of the main stakeholders that we normally speak with. So I already have here a list of either open jobs or new hires, and we want to move these people to our database and to our email sending tool. So here we have a list of companies with open jobs, and now we're going to start running some of these roles in here and to actually trigger the automations, right? I'm doing this manually right now, but we can do this, of course, automatically, so you don't need to worry and do this manually on your day-to-day activities. So what this is doing right now is finding companies with open jobs. It's finding companies in specific positions that we want to speak with inside those companies, and enrich information about these people, and then writing them into another table, our lead database, where from here we are going to do some extra enrichment. So find their email, for instance, and then send to our CRM and send into. So if we took a look in here, in our main lead database, we're going to see that we have a lot of people that were already populated in here. We're going to see that we have a lot of data like first name, last name of this person, company name, company domain, company LinkedIn, a lot of information about each person and each company. And we already looked and tried to find contact information for each person. So as you can see here, we have first tool that we're using to find information. If we don't find their email on the first tool, then we automatically use a second tool to go and try to find that email. And then what we're doing here is that we're writing these people to our CRM, which in this case is set as Airtable, automatically. From there, we're also going to have another automation that we will do some extra personalization and then send them to our sales engagement tool, right? So if we go right now to our CRM, so this is Airtable. We have a couple spreadsheets set out here. So we have the accounts spreadsheet, and as you can see here, we have all of the accounts that we want to prospect. And then in here, we have all of the leads that we're going to prospect as well, with basically the same information that we had in Clay. So first name, last name, industry, email, the quality of these email, and so on. And from here, we will trigger another automation, which is in n8n. And this, of course, can be done automatically as well, right? And then this automation will see whether or not these leads are one of our competitors, or maybe they're a current or old customer and we don't want to prospect them. And we're going to do some AI personalization, to show them to actually research about them before we send them to our email and LinkedIn DM sending tool. So I'm gonna open, for instance, maybe this campaign in here. You guys are going to see that we already have a few leads that are in here that when I was testing, we have 9 leads. You're going to see that this number will actually grow in a bit. So for instance, if we start executing this workflow right now, we're going to see that we got a bunch of leads that we had in our Airtable. We started checking whether or not they were a previous customer or a competitor. If they weren't, then we're going to start enriching. In this case, I think we're only normalizing their company name. It's a little slow, so I'm not going to show it this in here. And then we're sending them to Lemlist, which is the tool that we're using to do. So if you take a look in here, we had 9. Now we already have around 12 leads, 13. It's growing because the automation is running on the background, right? So the part here that's doing this is this node right here. And if you look, the last execution, we get, what's his name? First name's Thomas. And if we come in here, we're going to see Thomas is in here, right? And we have different Thomas, different Thomas with different, same names, but different last names. So this is how the system works. I only show the first demand signal that we're using. The second demand signal for this example would be open jobs. So companies, new hires. So companies that have recently hired a new COO or a new marketing director, and we want to say, hey, I saw they recently joined company A. I do this and this. Maybe you're interested in getting this much revenue or this much more benefit to your company, or you want to solve this problem that you might already have. And then of course you do your pitch to a new person that was recently hired, because they oftentimes are hungry to do more, hungry to improve results, and they might want to count on you to help them do so. So now, how to actually build this system here. Clay is a very powerful tool, and in this case, we set up this, or if you guys want to know how to assemble just different tables here in Clay, let me know in the comments. We can record a specific video on how to do any of those things. And if you need help to implement something like this in your company, but help to actually go and do this for you and customize your own needs, make sure to book a call on the link below and we can have a quick chat. Looks complex. We have different tables and different workbooks, but basically we're just centralizing different lead sources or intent signals and compiling them into one main spreadsheet. So for instance, if we look here at open jobs, I'm loading, and we edit this spreadsheet, we're going to see that we have a way to specifically tell Clay what are the job titles that we want to monitor, and if someone has a job title like this, then we want to prospect them, right? So in this case, this is for an insurance company, and they sell to other, they sell insurance to other companies. So when someone hires a new a new HR manager or a head of people or new human resources director, it might indicate that they're growing, right? So it might be a good time to sell them insurance. Another area that they want to speak with is a CFO or director of finance, because whenever they hire someone to manage the finances, like a director or a C-level or a VP or a manager, it also means that they might be more professional or just enhancing the controls that they want to have, and it's probably also a good time to sell insurance. So using that kind of logic, we started creating these roles that we wanted to monitor. From here, we can choose some filters like the companies that are in a particular country, maybe with this amount of employees, maybe from 50 employees to 1,000 employees. Maybe they are in retail and consumer goods, so specific industries that we want to prospect because our ICP is in there as well. So we can set all of those normal filters that we would normally have in Apollo, but we can precisely try to find job titles that are open on LinkedIn, for instance, right? So from here, we get a list of companies and the job titles that are open on LinkedIn, and we can enrich with the main information from each company. So like their name, their website, employee count, size, industry, description, their LinkedIn URL, their website, the year that they were founded, how many jobs they have open. So this is really interesting here as well, because you can see that maybe a company has like, I don't know, 100 open jobs, but they only have like 1 or 2, talent acquisitions. So that means that they might need help to actually go and find those people if I'm selling recruiting services, or if they're hiring a bunch of BDRs, they don't have or SDRs, right? They don't have a commercial team that's actually big yet. They don't have a big HR team yet. Then it might be a good idea for me to go and sell them demand generation services, right? And then we can start seeing the percent of employee growth that they had in the last 6 months, for instance, or in the last 24 months, 12 months, whatever we want. So it's a way as well to see if companies have been growing fastly in the last months. This is actually kind of another intent signal depending on what I'm selling for them. And then from here, we have this other tool here that will allow us to map specific types of people inside those organizations that we want to prospect, right? So from each organization that we had, we want to find HR managers, human resources managers, HR business partners, head of people, head of HR, VP of people, CFO, chief financial officer, and a lot of other job titles, because those are the people that we want to prospect. We want to get their information, their email, their contact, their LinkedIn, and then go and prospect them. So this is the way that we can, from a list of companies, find a list of people inside those companies. So for instance, for this company here, we got the first 10 people. So Lepola is his or her last name. It works for Fujitsu. It's a senior human resource business partner. And we might decide to prospect this person here and say, hey, in this case, I'm selling insurances, I do this and this, I can save you this much money, I can prevent you from these risks, and so on, right? So we found the specific list of people that we want to prospect, and in here, we're writing those people and moving those people to our main database. So even if we have different demand signals, we can centralize all of the leads in one main database in Clay, right? So here we have, for instance, each person's first name, last name, and some of the information we will repeat in here, like company name, company domain, company LinkedIn, the lead LinkedIn, all of those main informations that we want to have, right? And let's see what's more important in here. Then we can use these enrichment tools from Clay to find their contact information, right? So here I'm using, I think it's Prospeo tool that Clay has to go in based on this person LinkedIn. We're trying to find their email, right? And so for instance, for this person here, it tried to find its email, but it actually didn't find anything, right? So in this case, we have a second tool, which I think is find email, and it will try to do the same, right? And in this case, we didn't find the email again, but we already have their LinkedIn, right? So we can already prospect that person because we already have their LinkedIn. We could try to find their mobile as well, maybe using another tool. But in this case, I'm only using email and LinkedIn. So maybe for this other person in here, we tried to use Prospeo. It didn't get the email. Went and run the second tool. Then we did find an email, right? So find email, did find an email. In some cases, what I found is even though it's being said here that it's a valid email, sometimes it is not. So you're going to see that on a separate automation in n8n, we're actually going to try to validate whether or not this is a valid email for real using a tool that's called medium verifier. But we're going to see this in a sec. So here we did find this person's email, and then we're looking to our CRM and we are writing the companies in there and the leads in those different spreadsheets that we have, right? So we have a lead spreadsheet that the automation in n8n will go row by row and start taking them to the list campaign. And we also have an account spreadsheet, so you can have different ways to keep data inside our CRM, right? And now what we're going to see is you're going to see that this automation is still running. So I'm going to stop this here so you guys can see how to actually do this. Here it's a simple automation where in this case we're running this manually, but of course that in a normal use case we could set a run every week or run every month, and it would do this automatically, right? So basically what we did here is we're getting the company information because we're going to use this to try to map competitors and past customers so we don't prospect them, and we're going to use this information here as a key field on one of our AI assistants. So we have a spreadsheet here that will keep our main information, so like an overview of our company, right? And that information is being retrieved by this module in here. Then we're running another search module on Airtable to get the leads that we need to see whether or not we need to take them to the email sending tool, right? So you got a list of, I don't know, 100 leads around that, and we have all of their information in here. And then we're filtering the leads that were not uploaded yet to our sending tool, right? So for instance, in our CRM, we have a column that tells us if we have uploaded a lead to a sales engagement tool already or not, right? So for instance, these leads here have already been uploaded, and if we take a look at them, we will see them on list, for instance, right? This other one here, we haven't, probably because the automation hasn't been able to go through this line yet, or maybe because we didn't have their email and we also didn't have their LinkedIn profile. But I think in this case, probably because the automation didn't have time to go through all the leads yet, right? As you guys saw that they stopped the automation in the middle of it. So if we go back to the automation, so once we get so out of the 104 leads that we had on the spreadsheet, as you guys can see here, we filtered the 90 leads that weren't uploaded to list yet, right? And then from here, we started to going in a loop and doing all those things for each one of those leads. So first, we have a ChatGPT or OpenAI model here that will receive a company name, a company website, a company LinkedIn, and a company description. And it will try to validate if this company is or it isn't a competitor. So we'll say, hey, this is who I am. So that's why we needed to get somewhere an overview of our company and what we do, so we can help this system here to map whether or not this other company is a competitor from us. And we also need to provide to this assistant in here a list of our current or past customers, so we also don't get in touch with them, right? In this case, I don't have this list, so I don't need to worry about it, but it's one way to never go and try to prospect our own current customers, which is never a good idea, right? And basically here what we're doing is, hey, so look at these companies' description, SEO description, their website, compare with what I do or with my previous customers, and return for me with a score from 1 to 5. If it's one, then they're either a competitor from me, or they are a previous customer. So I should not prospect them. If it's a 5, then I should totally prospect them, because they're totally a potential prospect, for a potential client for me, right? And I'm asking to get this score here. And then if they receive a score that is higher than 2, I consider them as a valid customer, and they will continue going through the sequence. Or if they receive a score that's 1 or 2, so below or equal than 2, then they will just go for the next lead, because this guy here probably shouldn't start prospecting. So what this next model here does is to actually start doing some personalization, right? So here what we have is we're basically saying, hey, you have a lead name, a company name, a lead and a company LinkedIn URL, the lead job title, their LinkedIn description, and based on this information, help me to create this personalization. We could try different things in here. Right now, I'm only using this to kind of normalize their company name, because a lot of times you have like company, then Inc., or company and co., or company LLC. So we're removing all of those things here that make it really not natural. So then we can use a company name inside the email sequence and don't sound robotic, don't sound like just an automation that ran behind what we're doing, right? So here we're only normalizing the company name, but we could add some other personalized variables using AI. And in here is where we're validating whether or not we have a valid email. So there's a tool who's called Medium Verified. And what we're doing in here is that we see if the email from this person is or it isn't valid. If it is a valid email, then we're gonna add this person to a Lemlist campaign, where we're prospecting them through both email and LinkedIn. If we don't have their email, then we're only prospecting them through LinkedIn, right? So we are automatically making this decision. We're taking them to the campaign also automatically, and then we're updating a record on their table saying that, hey, this lead was successfully uploaded to to an email or to a LinkedIn campaign, right? And then the system goes and it starts over with the next lead. So this is an overview of how the system is set up. You guys saw how it would work for open jobs, and it works in a very similar way if we want to find new hires, right? So we wanted to show you guys how to actually do this. If we come to this table here and we go to edit the filters that we use, you guys are going to see that we use this time find people enrichment, which is one of the lead sourcing methodologies that we can use in Clay. And we have a specific list of attributes that we want to, search for companies. So in this case, it's companies from 50 employees to over 10,000 employees. And we have a specific list, again, of titles that we want to see if they were hired recently. So I want to see basically if there is a new HR manager or a new head of people, a new chief people officer, or a new CFO, or a new finance director. So you're going to see there's maybe 100 titles in here. Not all that definitely, but like a lot of titles in here, probably like 50. So we have the job titles that we want to monitor. And where is it? In this other field in here, experience, we're saying to Clay that we only want to find people who have been in this position for 6 months at most. We could change this, like only people with have been in this position for 3 months at most, right? Right now I'm using 6 because this list is kind of small. So I want to, get as many leads as I can, which are still qualified, but just don't filter too much these people. So I'm using a filter of at most 6 months. We're using some other basic filters like country, right? And then we get a list of people that have been hired in the last 6 months for one of those job titles that we wanted to look for, right? So we found here these people in here, and we have a lot of information about them as well. So first name, last name, their job title, right? One of the job titles that we that we wanted to prospect and that were recently hired, their location, their company name, and company website, employee count, all those things in here. We could find stuff about their LinkedIn profile as well. In this case, I don't think I am doing this, but we could do. And if we go here and we run this other tools here, let's say this 20 lines, I'm not gonna run all of them because of course it costs credits, but if I run this rest 10 lines, and I go back here to the leads database, you guys can see that the records are being created. We will be able to see in here, where is it? That more people were added. And if you go to this column here, that I am trying to track from which intent signal each lead came from. So if we look at here, we're going to see that the leads that came from the new hire intent signal are also in this same database, because I have this column here to track from each intent signal, from what intent signal each lead came from. So some came from the open jobs intent signal and some others came from the new hire, right? And then what this automation would do is to go in and run automatically for all of those leads as well, right? So right now I'm doing manually just because I'm showing to you guys, but if this was real, then this would run automatically, right? So basically it would run and it would enrich with contact information again, take to our CRM, which is in Airtable, and then the automation on n8n would also run automatically and take the leads to our land list campaign, which you guys can see now that has already 67 leads, and when we started we only had 9 leads. If you guys want to know something more specific about this part here, or something on the automation, or something on how to assemble this different tables, and if you like this content, please make sure to follow and subscribe for this channel. You will help me a lot, and you will also keep seeing other videos like this that I'm posting every week. Thank you a lot for watching, and that's it. Bye. Thanks.